Welcome back to Blast Guys Reviews. In this video, we're going to take a look at something pretty awesome. As you can see before you, we have the new G.I. Joe Classified series, Nemesis Immortal / Enforcer. I'm super excited that Nemesis Enforcer has finally arrived. So in this review, this is going to be a jam-packed review. We're going to have packaging comparison. We're going to take a deep dive into this packaging because I think the packaging is going to tell the tale of what's future to come, maybe. Fantastic. We're going to do a package comparison with Cobra Commander, some comparisons with the figure. We're going to take a look at the features, and we're going to talk about the new direction of what they're trying to take Nemesis Enforcer and Cobra Law into the future of G.I. Joe Classified. So here's front of the box, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Very, very cool. Big window box. You see most of the accessories. You can see Nemesis Enforcer, the wings, the alternate hands, alternate head sculpt. And in the background, in the corner, you can definitely see the tentacles. Very cool. And you can see some of those swords sticking out on the bottom right there. Very nicely done. There's some of that artwork that's done on here. This is very important because it kind of matches the Cobra Commander. Very nice looking. Here at the bottom, you have the Cobra insignia, the warning. Mainly what you want to focus on here is like the background. We know the insignia, we know the logo. This is pretty cool looking artwork here. Left side of this box is absolutely stunning. You can see the overall, if I can get out that light there, the textures, the detailing looks amazing in this artwork. This is 140 in the line. Here's the other side of the packaging. Man, this is just beautiful. The stats. Look at Nemesis Enforcer right there with his wings up. Very, very cool. Very, very nice. You can see the wings definitely come around to the front. Now the back of the packaging we've been staring at for a while because this is the image they've been using to tease us with. So we've seen this before, especially with Cobra Commander here in the clam. Nice looking artwork on the top there. You see the highlights. Now, first time I've seen the side of that head sculpt, and that makes me like that better than I initially thought I was going to. The tentacles, the feet, and all that crap on the bottom that makes this box look, not as perfect. And here's the top of the box. It looks absolutely beautiful. All that organic stuff going on, which is important to overall where they're going with Cobra Law, especially Nemesis Enforcer, and possible other characters in the future. And just because, here's the bottom. UPC is not going to matter because this was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. You're not going to find these in stores. Now here is the comparison with the Once a Man Cobra Commander. You see the packaging is pretty much the same. We have a problem with that light, so you guys know ahead of time. But I'm trying to find the best angle for that. And here's a look at them together. If you are a packaging collector, there's your two exclusives side by side. And you can kind of see how the packagings go together. Not so much on the back because it's just a different type of design, but it's an overall Cobra Law, but you can see the colors here is the main point I'm trying to show you. And there's the top of the box. That's interesting that Cobra Commander is 130, he's 140. Kind of like a jump of 10. Overall, I think these go together very nicely, especially if you're in a box collector. Fortunately, I love Joe's too much to keep it in a box. Now for me, I will be keeping these two boxes. If I ever do get a chance to open up my Once a Man Cobra Commander, but I'm definitely tearing in this Nemesis Enforcer. But I'll do that very carefully so I can retain the box and appreciate that artwork on the shelf at least. Alright, here he is in a clamshell, all nicely presented. And here's a look at the backdrop where you find your tentacle beast. And here's a little Easter egg. They are tied in. What's really cool about the tie-in is purple. Interesting. Alright guys, here he is. He escaped his packaging using those elbow / like forearm claws that he used to tear in that security dome when he captured the BET on the old school G.I. Joe cartoons. And I must say, Nemesis Enforcer. I keep wanting to say Immortal, which I know is not right to me. But he looks absolutely just brutal. Alright, so let's check him out. Let's talk about him because it looks fantastic. So, here he is. Let's take a look at that head sculpt first. And we're going to talk about this figure. And we're going to talk about what we've been hearing on the 1027 Pulse exclusive fan channel video. What Lenny was trying to, purvey over, like, the direction they're trying to take Nemesis Enforcer and probably, obviously, Cobra Law. But look at that. Look at his eyes, man. His eyes are just absolutely sick. I am definitely going to spend some time on the overall sculpting and feature these because there's a lot going on here. A lot of information to go over. See the texture over that kind of head mask. I want to call it a helmet because it's really not a helmet. Most want to call it like a baklava mask with an open face. But that's pretty cool. His suit looks fantastic. We have the overlays on top of overlays here. The sculpting looks decent. All kind of like different kind of textures and paint. Nice sculpting. We have this silver diamond here in the center. The purples are very nice with that magenta kind of colors, and the purples, the darker purples. Very nice. Here's the back. Looks insane. This overlays. Now in the video, as we're looking at the figure, he was talking about that you notice the wings ain't on Nemesis Enforcer, and there's a reason they're going in a different direction, because this is technically type of a classic, updated, classified / skybound comic interpretation of Nemesis Enforcer. So basically what that means is they're going to a point where, since they want to focus on the environment of Cobra Law, they want to take the organics, the plants, the creatures, and they want to adapt that into a more in-depth storyline. From what I think what Lenny's trying to say. So he's throwing out, like, he's done a bunch of research on organics and creatures and what they're made of. He's trying to adapt that into Cobra Law. Like, he used terms like creations. We're talking about like different type of hybrid stuff. Like, kind of like he has like an organic suit that he can, manipulate, I guess, from what I'm getting from the show. Like, for example, like like a turtle shell, how hard that is, and because it's organic technically, like a creation type of. I can't remember the technical terms he was using, but these are hard shells that will protect his, his armor in a sense. And these are like the same thing, like kind of claws or bone. And we'll talk more about that when we get to the other head sculpt, but it's just craziness that's going on. Very cool. You see the lower level here, he does have kind of like a protection there for his crotch area. It's kind of funny. Belt on, like organic belt. You can see like the sculpting in the plastic. Then we have these new, now this is new for, not classic, but it's kind of new for Nemesis Enforcer with these dual sword sleeves, or scallards, depending on what you want to call it. These thigh covers here, almost like they are like a lobster type, organic material. And so for here down on his shins, there's some spikes there. Very cool. You can see the overlays here on the side of his calf muscle. Kind of, gives you like kind of like a lobster, like that shell type feeling in the back of his feet. And then if you come around the front here, we do have this very interesting toes with the two claws on the front. He kicks you with those, you're definitely going to get damaged pretty good. This guy's like a walking weapon. I mean, organic weapon, basically. Feet's pretty big. There's holes in his feet, but they don't get no stand with this figure. But man, he looks incredible. So just because of all the sculpting here, I'll do some extra angles so you can see the figure overall, if it interests you. Pretty cool. Here's the top of him. Those shells on his shoulders. The spikes. The gloves are just as deadly. This definitely, you can see a lot of like organic shells going on with this figure. Just get this lobster, turtle, shell kind of weaponry that he has. This sharpened bone here, which I thought these were in his elbow on the original cartoon because he kind of had like a, you guys ever remember that cartoon, the Guyver? Hands look pretty menacing with claws on them. Pretty cool. It's just like the grabbing gun hand, C hands, pretty decent. Got the wraps around his forearms there, pretty decent. He has some big, thick arms too. He has the overall skin tone of a human, but has this organic bio suit. Kind of, if you guys ever remember, like I said, that Guyver movie, that's an organic suit. Gives me that kind of feel. So obviously these are probably mostly new parts. So we'll take a look at the articulation. Down. So much back for a flight character. That's really the issue I have with a lot of flight characters. We need to get that upward look for flight. It is on a ball peg. It does rotate 360. Kind of got the side look. There's articulation in the neck there, but I mean, trying to grab that and utilize that, kind of tough once you take the head off. Now these are like a softer. He's very hard, but these are soft. So they're pliable. I bet you these are tucked underneath the peg of the arm, which I'm betting in the future, if you're not careful, these are going to break off and really make it an unhappy day for you. But the arms do rotate 360 because see how that rotates? The shell rotates with the arm. That's because it's not attached to the body. It's attached to that peg that's pushed into the arm. So that's where that's at. So be very careful with that. They are pliable. They do move upward. You get about, I'm trying to be careful because these are exclusive and they're sold out now. That's about all I'm willing to do. I'm putting a lot of force on it, so I don't want to break it. You can see it does have butterfly joints there. Pretty cool. The range of motion is not bad. He's a big guy though. We have the bicep swivel here. We do have double jointed elbows. And it's stiff. I'm going to have to heat that up. For the hands, we have the rotation 360. I think this one is the up and down. Yes, up and down because there's the joints. Moving over here, we have, it looks like the same hand. Yeah. So for the chest area, we do have like the ab kind of crunch back and forth. Not too bad. Right the side. And there's a rotation around. I'm not willing to do that. Rotation at the waist. If you want that, it's there. For the lower level here, we have it splits about that much. My son is going crazy in the background. A little bit of a drop down hip there. Not as much as the other normal classified figures have. The thigh cut is kind of hidden behind the thigh pad here. Kind of swivels up there. There's no cut across these shells that are on his thighs, so that's good for aesthetically. And then they do function pretty good. Now, can he sit? So look at that inner leg. Yeah, he can sit. He's a big guy. I'm not sure what vehicle. Wish we got some massive vehicle. I'm sure what he's gonna fit in, especially if he has his wings on. We did the splits, kind of like that. Like I said, I'm being very careful with this because I don't want nothing to happen. So I probably won't be able to get a replacement. So, double jointed knees. That's super stiff. I'm not gonna. That's a lot of force. No boot cut or nothing there. His feet does have a joint. It's kind of stuck. Don't move a whole lot. There's a swivel or rocker. So yeah, not too bad. Alright, so real quick, let's just take a look at those claws or that he has on his back, these blades. They look very, very nice. Seem to be flexible, but it kind of stay in a position, not warped or bent or anything, so that's pretty cool. Very nice. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the alternate head sculpt it comes with. Now, Lenny was using some of those terms. I'm trying to think of like cephalopods and creations, something like that for organics. But Basically, he's trying to say that, you know, when he's in battle, like when he was fighting Sergeant Slaughter, he can kind of manipulate his suit to generate these hardened organic materials, like a turtle shell we talked about. So that's on the face here. You can see that he's kind of got the Undertaker eyes. It's all white and bloody, or maybe Sif's he went to the dark side or something. But we've seen this head sculpt on the photos. It looks pretty dope. I love that, but we didn't see how cool the side view of this is to the packaging art. That's pretty cool. So in battle, he can somehow get this to, you know, quickly grow on his head as some type of organic armor. I wasn't a big fan of the head sculpt on the product images, but in person and then the side view of this, that just looks pretty sick. That's pretty cool for a battle presence for your photography or your displays. That's pretty cool. Nonetheless, it's definitely an interesting take on what he's going with Nemesis Enforcer. He also comes with a set of fist hands, so he can go one-on-one with the Sarge or Falcon maybe. You can see that he has these spikes on his knuckles. It's all one color, so it's really hard to see. Very deadly. So we all know that Nemesis Enforcer is kind of like a flight character. So here we have his wings. And why they're detached is because this technically, according to what Lenny is saying, is a individual character, a creature of Kubala. So he can walk on his own. So basically, I guess the overall mythos of this is that Nemesis Enforcer can utilize his biosuit, biomechanical suit, if you will, and he can use the creatures of Kubala to assist him in battle. I assumed from the cartoon he had a more sleeker design, and he was, you know, that was actually coming out his back, not the middle of his back. Each one had independent, and like kind of his shoulders in the cartoon. So this thing is actually huge. Here is, you know, he's, you know, 1.5 size of Nemesis Enforcer just out of the packaging. You can see here kind of how the arm going up the wing. And here's the hand, so to speak, with the long fingers, if you want to call it that. I mean, coming down to this claw. It's a pliable material. Then we have the same kind of shells here that we see on Nemesis Enforcer's shoulders. I guess this is the body / type head of this creature. We have no official name of this so far. This is crazy. So flip that over. Inside the wing here, so the features. Kind of here's the peg. Kind of like, is it his eyes? Right there and right there. And you can see the scales. Since it's all one color, it doesn't really stand out, but there's a lot of sculpting, even in the webs of the wings. There's definitely a lot of sculpting here. It's kind of transparent with the light, if you can tell. You might be able to see a little bit through there. My hand, finger moving. There's some transparency there, especially towards the edges. There's a tear in the one wing right here. Now the articulation on this, so we'll start down here at the bottom. This can come all the way down, like, I mean, that looks like some kind of arm, right? So nothing here. There's a rotation, I believe. No rotation, just a bend there. It's about that much. Now we move up the armature arm, and we have the same scenario here, but these will rotate 360, but does not go with it very well. Got to get around that if you want to do that. Does come upward. Very stiff. There's a joint there. It's just not cooperating very well. That's the lane. The range is limited. There's the joint. Oh, there we go. Yeah, kind of like that. It's like a 90-degree bend there. And there's the rotation around we just talked about. So that's it for those. And it's basically the same for both sides. So you can get those wing presents up like this. Pretty cool. Alright, so let's see how well this looks on Nemesis Enforcer. Just pegged on his back, see what happens. Okay, here he is. He looks intimidating. And tell you what, it takes a lot of space up on your shelf. That's a huge wingspan. For me, I wish the wings are a little bit more fuller. Kind of like the wings that came with Venom and Maul from Marvel Legends. I'm hoping we get a more of a classic version of this. But it looks pretty sick, guys. And here's a back look at that. He does get very back heavy. He needs to have a stand. Fortunately, unless you do some kind of magical articulation, positioning of his legs and arms, and kind of find a center point to where he stands with his wings extended like that. It's kind of a look like the wing going downward and kind of straight out. It doesn't stay all the way up. I'm not sure if it's just being new, but at least that's some of the positioning you can get. Alright, so next up we have what everybody used to be calling tentacles. And technically not wrong. So let's take a look at them, let's talk about them. You can see the peg here in the middle. You see all these little like octopus type suction cups on this thing. A lot of detail there. Then we have those holes. And those are because they want the flexibility of these things. So the center body of this. Now, here's what we're talking about, getting into more of the overall new lore for Nemesis, Enforcer, and Cobra Law. Here we have the darker green on the outside, and it's almost like this snake-like appearance in the body of a snake in the head, but it's not really a snake. But you can kind of get that if you didn't know what you were looking at. The center, we have some type of shell. And if you look right there, there's a beak. It's a black beak. Like you see like on a falcon or eagle. Look at that beak. That's terrifying. Now this is a creature of Cobra Law, according to Lenny. Which we're going to take a look at that here in a second. So stay with me here. So there you go. So these can be attached to Nemesis Enforcer, just like we can with the overall wing set, basically. And there it is. Let me see if I can get this straightened up real quick. Okay, there we go. It looks, I don't know. I never was a fan of this. This is from the toy, not the cartoon. Never to use mine. It was just the wings are the one I enjoyed most. So, but now, I kind of have more interest in this because of what Lenny and the G.I.JOE team are going for. This is a creature Cobra Law along with the wings. Again, this is probably going to need a stand. So articulation wise for this, it's just like a bendy material. You can see that you can bend. I'm not going to do too much, but you can kind of see where it came from, like this. And then I'd be very careful. You don't need to stress marking plastic. It seems more of a pliable type of figure. What I would go for me, I think what I want to do is try to get this even down. And you can use this as kind of like a spider type creature, I guess. If you can get this to, you can manipulate the same way on both sides. Let's see here, you probably have to get a little bit more. Yeah, which I'll show you here in a second. But even manipulating that and putting it back on Nemesis Enforcer here, or Nemesis Immortal, if you're a new collector to Cobra Law, definitely can get that to wrap around the character pretty decently. Overall, that's pretty nice. The overall appearance. Now here we go. Let's talk about the creatures of Cobra Law. This is pretty cool. You can see here he's able to give you like a walking presence. Again, getting these to be perfectly aligned. You can maybe get to a point where you have them all the way stepping. Pretty decent looking. Is some type of just crazy creature. Now Lenny mentioned about like these things being like be able to walk on their own, and here is the set of wings, crab kind of creature. I mean, you look at this thing, kind of gives you an optical illusion of like, these joints being the eyes, kind of get that appearance, and maybe that's the nose or little teeth. overall. But he had it a little deeper than that, so I'm not sure if he had it walking and kind of like this. So there you go, your creatures are Cobra Law here. I mean, pretty intense overall. Nemesis Enforcer. Kind of like that overall look. That's pretty sick. I mean, I bet you everybody out there would love to have some of those creatures of Cobra Law. I mean, the ones that went in a battle with Cobra, even in those just escorted, like, tentacles, when I think one of them said, "Hey, I never thought I'd be shot down by a salad." I can't remember who that was. But, even the clan, maybe once that clan the Cobra Commander's in, all these organics, I'm betting we're going to see some more stuff in the future as we get through some of the other characters, such as Pythona. We may get to Galabius, and that's just going to be massive. Now, the way you should do Galabius is you got to have that snake tail, and you got to have that pod that he sits in when he's not, in a snake form. When he cracks that thing open in the movie, you're like, what's going on? It just keeps getting crazier and crazier when you first watch that movie. So if you haven't watched it, sorry about that for spoiler alerts at least. In the Cobra Law Troopers, just a lot of things can come out of that. There's a lot of Cobra Law citizens. They can create anything. We can always get Cobra Commander when he first was a scientist, and then those spores exploded in his face, and that gave him his deformed face and made him Cobra Law. The whole story goes. But anyway, pretty cool. So let's take a look at his last accessories. So it comes with a pair of swords. So we have these bone type of swords. And we have this red, I'm betting that's some kind of veins or blood flow in this thing with stained blood. Unique shaped. You have that very serrated blade right there. Just like a very small section from here to here. The chip out of that one looks pretty dangerous. And then we get down into the handle. We have like a flesh bone handle with a claw. This looks like a dual claw from like a raptor or something. And you get a pair of these. Super cool. Alright, so holding these things, it's kind of questionable. For this hand, it seems to be in pretty good. I'm not sure why they went with like a gun hand design for this, because you can see how that kind of doesn't seat in there very well. If you kind of wedge the claw piece under his hand, he can hold it pretty tight. But you can see they're not the greatest at all, and it's just some kind of special holding there. But yeah, it's not the best design hand for him, in my opinion. Now, getting his arms up and out the way, you can see that he does have a place to keep them. Pretty much take up the whole entire leg. Overall, he fit relatively nice. Bringing down the arm, they're kind of there. That's kind of where they kind of position. They may get in the way a tad bit. If you're trying to do, or if you give them a gun, or you just get crazy with it, they're definitely there, and they take up space. So, whatever you're trying to do with Nemesis Enforcer's arms, he may have a little bit of restriction there, but at least you have a place to keep all of his weapons, which is only 2, but pretty cool. Alright, so there he is. Hey, he's definitely pretty cool. So we have to end this video by doing some very important comparisons. So first up is obviously going to have to see how it compares to Road Pig. And you can see, man, these guys are both beefcakes and they're about the same size. It'd be an interesting fight between these two, definitely. And if you're interested in seeing how kind of like the Cobra Law creatures fare with the human world kind of creatures, here is Raucous with his toes sticking up. And then, overall with that, just kind of how they compare. And just because we can, here is a pork belly. And there is a Dr. Mindbender. And here he is next to Raptor. kind of look at the wings types, I kind of ran out of room. These things are huge. This is how it compares with a normal size G.I. Joe classified figure. And last but not least, here we have the Cobra Emperor, Serpentor. You can see how it compares with his snake that it came with the other creature of Cobra Law. Pretty decent. I think Serpentor's got a little bit of height on Nemesis Enforcer. Oh yeah, definitely. He definitely has just a little bit on him. Well, there he is, guys. I'm hoping you guys liked my ultimate review. I worked very hard on it. If you did, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up and a like, and if you consider subscribing, that'd be great. So, pros and cons. This is amazing. This figure costs like $44.99 when available at Hasbro Pulse exclusive. Beautiful, new, definitely new parts for the G.I. Joe classified line to see what they can do with in other figures. Stuff joints for cons. I'm not a big fan of the wings, to be honest with you. It's cool for what it is. I'm still feel not complete for my Nemesis Enforcer character. I need a classic version. I hope we get a retro one someday with better wings, more toned, slicked down to the cartoon version, and that's what the retro line is for. Interesting take on what they're going with. Not sure, what I think about it. I like it, and kind of, it's not what I'm used to having, but, change is good, but I like staying true to the original source material is my thing, but I definitely love this figure. I do recommend you picking him up. He's beautiful. Great figure for what they've done. I really hope you guys get yours. You had, if you want to watch my video for Saturday action figure toy discussion I usually do, I shared my experience of how, the experience of me getting my figure from the processing to actually getting it. If you want to check that out, if you're interested in, how that went for me. This video is getting kind of long, so I will see you guys in the next review, and happy collecting. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below, because if you don't comment, Nemesis Enforcer will make you.